a Coldie remix. Let's just freaking try it.
Been around for a minute.
Super fun and dynamic.
Once it clicks,
Oh, sick.
this is the new paradigm.
Now's the time. You know, we're alive. Almost ahead of its time, which was fine. Design, my mind.
We're in the flow.
So anything goes.
I get so far out of my comfort zone.
There's no guarantees when you do an art show. Being an artist in crypto, those stereoscopic photos, and
Started doing the gift rotation.
art direction.
It's okay to smash your face.
First time I was shaking.
So I'm creating a delineation, cut the worm open, a literal legend, rebalance the passion.
Hyperinflationary currency made in perpetuity. Great Grandpa Coldie. I hope it helps somebody. It makes me super effing
There was
happy.
a lot of synchronicity. Free crypto art for me, you know, build the community. The Coldie method, the cold gotta loop. Coldie method, the videos don't loop. Ooh. Coldie method, the lightning round. Coldie method, the cold
Moment right now.
Coldie method, the cold gotta loop. Coldie method, the videos don't loop. Ooh. Coldie method, the cold
We can talk.
Coldie method, each have the special sauce.
Technology was evolving.
Got in.
And I started tokenizing.
Where we are and where we're going.
I'm always experimenting. So we're all building bigger and better things. Slicing and dicing. Personally rewarded. Just starting. I'm all in. Mesmerizing.
NBA Top Shot.
You getting these little eavesdrop. Do I know what I'm doing? Absolutely
Put
not.
to work on your chops.
Holy fuck, come up with new stuff.
Shake myself up.
Quote unquote remixed my stuff.
You know, selling shit for $1.
Taking a stand for the future that we can develop this space together.
Basically shepherds and Sherpas. Harness that power. We all were starting at one point, so why not help each other? Cryptovoxel, Cryptovoxel. Taking this from both angles. Now it's taking it to the next level. Entrepreneurial, complete 180 from the traditional full color digital. So many things to talk about with different people. Coldie method, the cold gotta loop. Coldie method, the videos don't loop. Ooh. Coldie method, the lightning round. Coldie method, the cold
Moment right now.
Coldie method, the cold gotta loop. Coldie method, the videos don't loop. Ooh. Coldie method, the cold
We can talk.
Coldie method, each have the special sauce. One of the key takeaways: just step up in your own way. Maybe it's 5 minutes a day.
GM. Fomoverse Radio. This is your show host, Austin Hamilton. Today we have the OG GOAT, Coldie. What's going on, brother?
GM. Oh, man, doing good. Happy to be here, man. This is great.
I'm stoked. We've been looking forward to having you, Coldie. Well, yeah, I just thank you for coming on. Wanted to get to know you a little bit better, so maybe you can tell the audience what got you started, or even before NFTs, what you did, and kind of what got you inspired.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Again, good to be here. We've chatted a lot online. You've supported my art, which I totally appreciate, and it's great to like have a sit down and just like shoot the shit. So this is fun.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So my art name is Coldie. And I've been making art for 20 plus years, and my love is for stereoscopic art. So the glasses you're wearing are exactly what I love to create artwork with. And I started figuring out how to do this stuff back in like 2007 or so, and it's just the elusive finding depth on a flat plane. Like, how do you fake depth? And like, as soon as I, learned the tools and got some tricks and stuff that I was taught by these masters, I could just go off and run. So I've been making stereoscopic art for, all that time. And, I found NFTs kind of serendipitously. Found like my first crypto art piece was in 2017, and then I started minting in 2018. So it's been a crazy road from the last 4 years have just there's just new stuff coming up all the time, new technology, new ways to show my own stereo work and integrate NFTs with it. So it's just this ongoing crazy road. I just feel super fortunate. I fucking busted my ass for 20 years, so it's not like I just like NFTs made me like any type of like, it just wasn't given it. I had to fucking work really hard and like, make art constantly. So it's kind of a little bit of, I don't know if you'd call it vindication, but it's like, yeah, I work hard just like any career. So it's really cool that I can share this stuff with people and that it resonates like with all these people. It's really awesome.
That's badass, man. Do so you feel like it finally like paid off, and like all those years that, obviously, like, I mean, most artists that start up, they're not instant successes. It takes them, if not years or, even like 10 years to really get their work out there and build the relationship with the collectors and stuff. And speaking of that, building relationships with collectors, um, I think it's a lot of the times where collectors get overlooked in the community. I was hearing somebody the other day that we have more artists than there actually are collectors.
Oh
And,
yeah.
I don't know if it was like part of the Ash community or the Ash ecosystem, but that comment really resonated with me. I'm like, you know what? There is like a lot of people making art here, but I feel like the collectors are kind of overlooked. So, is that something that you agree with me on? Like collectors are overlooked, and I mean, what percentage of the collectors makes the artist? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's always been disproportionate, and that's one thing I've always been advocating for with everybody, where it's, if it's collectors who know other people who are into art or artists, it's just like spreading the word because, I think there's obviously, I mean, I make art and I also collect art, and early on, I made that decision that not only did I want to be a part of this from the creator standpoint, but I also wanted to help and support my fellow friends and artists, So I think that it's definitely many more artists than there are collectors. And if it wasn't for especially the early collectors, not to take anything away from anyone, it's all exactly the same importance. But early on, there were several collectors who came out of nowhere and they just took a huge chance, right? Totally unfounded asset class, right? And they're dumping in a couple $1 million like across, they're
That
just,
was insane back then too. You're like, somebody spent 10 grand on what?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And looking back, it was the single best decision of their life, or one of them, right? Like the windfall that, and any of them, like the early X copy collectors, or I was on super rare mostly back then, so I would see how that would transpire, and I couldn't be more happy for these people because they were supporting me, you know, they were helping me pay rent. They were kind of just, as an artist, it doesn't matter the amount of money. Like it's not part of the equation, right? But when you make art and it resonates with somebody enough that they want to collect it, that's like a relationship, right? That's like something that they want. And that's what I look for. I used to do street fairs, little pop-up art shows all the time,
You were
right?
working right next to Banksy, had no idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like you lug your shit out somewhere, set it up for an hour, talk to people for a couple hours, and you tear down for another hour, and then it didn't matter because you're looking for that connection, right? And the early collectors, they really fueled a lot of the kind of evolution of the space, and I couldn't be more thankful. And I kind of sit around thinking like the art market is, what, I don't know how many billions of dollars it is, or I don't know, $1 trillion. I have no idea. Like, there's so much money in the art world that it's kind of fascinating. I feel like they're either just behind the curve of technology or they're just scared. Maybe they're just, I don't know, but I feel like there's so many people on the sidelines that are waiting and like watching and like kind of hoping it's a bubble because they missed it, but also wanting to get in. I think that we haven't seen hardly anything with the true collectors coming in.
Correct.
There's
Yeah,
some
we haven't seen
fat,
a lot of like the traditional art market collectors come in and
no,
purchase some of these collections.
basically zero. Because I by no means have like my finger on that pulse, but I know people who are in those circles, and it's largely not even, it's more of a joke at this point, right? Which is the classic story of the revolution, right? Where it's like first they laugh at you, then they mock you, and then there's all the steps. We're basically in like the mocking phase, right? And then then they fight you and then you win. There's steps. We're still at like the third inning of the 9 inning game, which is great to me. I mean, I'm gonna make art for another 40 years. I don't really care.
That's amazing.
Like, but it's so early that I think everyone needs to take that into account, for a multitude of different reasons. But like, it's so early, especially people who think they missed it, or like, oh, X copies already sold everything, or like, I can't get a whatever, a Jonesy, whatever people are looking for. Don't worry, there's so many, there's so many good artists, and there's like, I think it's just a renaissance time that the hard part is there's so many artists coming in, and that's undeniable. And it's not a problem, but it's becoming very saturated in a way that it's hard for each artist to get noticed, especially if you're not like a marketer, because a lot of artists, there's a reason we're artists, we sometimes are solitary type of people. You like to just do your thing, it's a different type of person often. And I think that also is hard because, when you come into this crypto art area, you don't have access easily to like a manager or like a PR team. You have to be all those things. And I think that you'll notice artists that are able to combine, artwork that resonates with people and marketing and a strategy. Like it takes those things, at least it helps amplify in this space. So it's kind of a new paradigm, I think, of artist skill sets. Because I've seen, I mean, like I said, I have a lot of NFTs, whether it's Ethereum or Tezos. Like I hop around. I have like the fake rares, I buy. Like, I buy things that resonate, right? And sometimes I'll find these artists that are sitting on OpenSea for like 3 or 6 months, and I just like what I like, and I'll find it. I'll be like, holy shit, and like no one's bought it. So I don't know. It's a conundrum, but it's like, it's just so damn early.
Saying that we're so damn early, that reminds me. I see non-fungi here in the comments. What's up, guys? We were actually at the Trevor Jones Castle Party, and Trevor Jones, as you know, you probably know him pretty well.
Oh yeah.
There was the pre-party that we were at, and I don't know, there's probably like 75 people or so at this, and Trevor Jones is standing up there in front of the mic, and one of the first things he says is, look at you around here. We're either so dang early, or this isn't going to go anywhere. So it was just kind of like a moment of like recognizing like, damn, there's only like 100 people here. Like, where is this going to be at in 5 to 10 years? Is there going to be like 1,000 people here? And now we're at like this giant like concert, and
Sure.
you're up there with all the other guys, and it's crazy to think. I agree with you on how early we are, and to be quite honest with you, I only have been in this space since like mid 2020,
Sure.
and it's 2022. It's funny to me. It seems like it's been 10 years
Yep.
already. It's only been 2, but I'm probably going to get some gray hair over the next year or two just by how fast this space moves. And you were talking about, trying to filter out all the things and that come out on a daily. That there was at one point where it seemed like 50 to 100 of these new PFP projects or something would come out every single day, and it's like, which one do you buy? Which one do you choose? And I think you really have to kind of sit back, maybe even write down a plan and say, hey, look, this is what I'm going to buy. This is my goal. This is what I like. And if it doesn't meet those criterias, I think that can be a red flag. Too many times, like, we have FOMO versus radio here, fear of missing out, FOMO. It's like people are just jumping, FOMOing into something because, they heard Joe Blow's involved, or, they're making this crazy elaborate roadmap, and, you better get it now or else you're going to have to buy it at 10 ETH. So it's just, I think a written down plan is something that you have to do in this space if you want to be successful. And on another note too, like, it's okay to just buy something just to have it and just to enjoy it. You don't have to like think of it as like a financial side. I think it's easy in this space to get finances and what you like mixed up. And so another thing too, it's like you can still admire artists' work without actually buying it. We go to a museum and you're looking at all the works on the wall. You're not going to buy that. But you can say, hey, look, like, I like how this artist, drew the line down the middle, or, how his head is like 2 inches to the side. It's just, I think we think like, oh, I can only like it if I buy it and I can flip it. And I think as a collector, you just have to have a goal and what you're trying to do over the long term and short term.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. You know, I collect. I'm really good at buying things I love, and I'm not that good of selling things I love. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think the plan, you know, I fall into that just as much. I have to look at when I need to sell. Not that I'm like, you know, there's just, I'll take things with me just to the grave, you know,
Right.
and some of them I definitely will. These are lineage things. But at the same time, you know, like you said, you have to have goals, because when that euphoria phase hits, and what I do is I usually, if there's something I really love, I'll buy a couple of them if I can
Yep,
afford it.
there you
You know,
go.
if
There
they're
you
if they're
go.
inexpensive, I'll get. It used to be two, but now it's three,
Now, yep.
right? So because one of them you buy a bunch, right? One of them you're gonna keep forever, right? The second one, it's like your safety net, because when you sell the first one to like pay for your cost or whatever, you know, just
That's
to,
smart.
you know, even up, and then you have basically two free pieces of art, right? And then you still have two, so you have another round where you're like, okay, I'm gonna get rid of this one, but then I still got, you know, it's less of from everything to nothing, and kind of like laddering yourself out and
Is
still having.
do you feel a little bit of guilt when you sell things?
Oh, dude, that, yeah. I mean, well, yes and no. There's less guilt as time goes on, because a lot of the stuff I buy, they're from friends or people I've met who I just had a good connection with, and I saw their stuff, and you know, I thought it was good and I wanted it.
Hmm.
So that, I mean, I'm not a flipper. I get offered flipping things all the time. Like, you know, some of them I definitely missed out on. Like, oh, of course, you know, like damn, you know, huge flips. At the same time, what I know is the type of art I want to collect, and I understand certain aesthetics in terms of like maybe collectability or what might be historically relevant. Like I can kind of have a calculated guess on where that's gonna end up. I have no idea like what you're talking about with like a huge team and a roadmap. To me, that's a speculation gamble, and I've been burned just as much as I've won. So I tend to not risk myself on those, even if I end up losing, you know, multiples on the other side. It's just like I I can control the art I own, you know, and I think that as a collector and an artist, it feels good to just have like an epic one of one collection, you know, and it's like a basically like a roulette table too. You know, if you're looking at it from an investor side, I never went all in on one artist. You know, I was more the type where I wanted to own one or a couple pieces from a bunch of friends, right? So then in terms of your investments, you know, if one hits big, then, you know, your whole collection's paid for, you know? So I think, you know, it's complicated and fun. And I just, I just love it. Like I went on a little Tezos buying spree a
Cool.
couple nights ago because I just missed it. And like, it's not even like going to the casino because I was like, am I just gambling my money right now? Like, what am I doing? But it wasn't. I was like literally like so excited about these artworks that I was finding. I'm like, oh my God, how did I never have this? Like I need to own this in my life. So a lot of all of this, it's like finding meaning in this digital ones and zeros game of collecting or like monetizing art. You know, it's deeply fascinating to me, and I feel like I'm still just learning what's going on even after years, and that's good. It's not like it's boring. You know, it's just continuing to evolve, and the cream is rising to the top. You know, the people who I believed in early on, it's great to see them succeeding, right? So it's just this like cycle that keeps growing. And I always took about 20 to 30% of my earnings since the beginning and bought other art with it. So I'm able to collect with, I kind of call it like brain house money, where I created this, I manifested art that, you know, was purchased. And now I can take this manifest money and like spread it around. And it's like the dollar feeds the village. It's kind of that type of situation
You're
where it's
giving
like,
back.
okay, what's that?
You're giving back.
Giving back 100%. Yeah, and reinvesting in what I believe in, right? Because like, who am I if I'm going to make money on NFTs, but I'm not going to like, I don't like support the ecosystem or like buy into it from the other side. So I'm learning as a collector better ways to, you know, issue my art, or like different things you need to think about, like minting on your own contract, or, you know, making sure you have proper metadata, and, you know, all these things that matter. I learned when I'm on the other side and I'm collecting. So they all really go hand in hand together.
That's awesome that you're looking at it from both perspectives. Do you have a piece that maybe when you first got into collecting NFTs that it's just that's the first thing that comes to your mind? Do you remember what your first piece was that you bought?
Oh wow.
Or like, or like one of them. Doesn't have to be.
Yeah. You know, let's
Was it on Super Rare?
you know, that's a good. I'm going to open my OpenSea because well, I mean, I'll actually be honest. The first, well, I think they were actually on OpenSea. I'm just curious. I'm gonna pull it up just so I'm not like totally making stuff up. Definitely early on was super rare. Um, and I also was getting some rare art lab tokens back then. And that was ERC20 artworks. And that marketplace is gone. Like it's not even around anymore. But I mean, it was crazy. Like, so when I first started in 2018, this place, Rare Art Labs, was the only digital art marketplace. They weren't even called NFTs. And I got on there. There was no wait list. You just emailed the guys. They're like, yeah, dude, come on in. You know, it was a ghost town, you know? And no one was buying anything. It wasn't like, holy shit, look at all the money these guys are making. It was just like, it was like Match.com for art. It was just like, make a profile and just see what happens, you know? And
Link to your MySpace? No.
yeah, quite frankly, it was right around. Like MySpace was still kind of around. So, you know, made the site, put up my artwork on there, and then, Hackatow, Xcopy, Osinachi, Miss Simpson, Max Osiris, Brad D'Amico, a lot of very good artists were on the site, but we didn't know each other. It wasn't a community yet. But looking back, you're like, holy shit, there was like a lot of OGs on the site. So along the way, I was able to pick up some, like, I got a couple X copies.
Oh.
Like, it's a ridiculous stories, but like bunch of Osinachis who I love. If people don't know Osinachi, he's Nigerian and he makes his art with Microsoft Word.
Okay, I know. Yep, I've seen him. He's had some nifty gateway drops.
Yep.
Kind of like the paper machete kind of look to it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
exactly.
Has one
And
with the hands with the flame in it.
I don't know the specific ones, but it's kind of like it's a collage that's like kind of digital painted, but also like it's all digital painting. So yeah, but yeah, I mean the guy makes art with Microsoft Word. Like I can't fathom how that even works. It's amazing. So, I mean, I was getting rare art lab tokens and super rare were the early ones. And back then, you can get a one of one for $30, right? I mean, I was selling for $30 too. You know, it was just what the market was bearing. So, you know,
Was it all in ETH?
the super rare was,
Okay.
and rare art labs was actually cash.
Oh, like you hook
So,
up your debit card to it, and
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So, you know, it was nuts back then. But the cool thing was it's like high risk, high reward, right? So you could get you could get an X copy edition. It was like an edition of 20 or something for like $15, right?
that's crazy.
So like, but because no one cared, right? So, and I felt the same thing, which I still do, which when I'm buying something, I'm like, am I making the dumbest decision of my life or the best decision of my life? Because it just feels weird, right? Because no one's giving you permission to do this. And you're kind of like on your computer looking around, like, what am I doing? Right. Like, which I think is good to kind of question, you know, your expenditures. But especially back then, even these like $15 purchases, I'm like, what? I bought a JPEG. You know, I knew the tech behind it, but like when you take a step away, you're like, what is this? Because it was so early, and it still is early, like we keep saying. But um, yeah, I mean, back then it was just the Wild West.
I didn't realize this. Osinachi, that's his name.
Yeah,
I didn't realize he's that old school.
you know, I don't know if it's. I think it's not exactly the old schoolness. It's like what access to software he had. So he's our age. He's actually, I think, younger than me, which, well, that's not saying much. But he didn't have access to Photoshop. I think he like literally had a laptop that had Microsoft Word, so you kind of work with what you got. And I've done plenty of I messing around in Microsoft like for photos, like it baffles me. It's like genius shit. They figured that
Yeah, how do you
out.
even make that on Microsoft Word?
I know. I asked him. It's just tricks of the trade. You know, he's got. It's just unknown, and I love it that it's unknown because it's magical, man. Like that is some crazy ass shit. So you know, I love when I hear these stories, especially early on. It's like, damn, I want to support this guy. You know, so it's not like, oh, what can I flip this for? It's like, man, this guy is doing some really interesting art, and like he's doing it because he wants to, and he found a way. You know, like plenty of people are like, oh, I suck at Photoshop, or like it's too much to learn. I'm just not going to do it. It's like, well, no, like obviously you don't want it bad enough. You don't, you know, there's people using like text editors to make art. Like, you know,
Here we
that's
go.
more on
Here we go.
some
I got it pulled up here. So this is that little the hands with the little
nice.
flame
Yep.
in the middle. And you can see this one wasn't one of the earlier ones. This was last year, 2021. But you can just kind of see that little paper machete kind of style.
Yep.
He's got some other cool stuff too. Like this face here, that's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he just did a series called Across the Face where there was like it was async blueprints
Okay,
release.
yep.
Yeah, which was super successful. I was lucky to get one. And those are the ones you always. I wish I would have gotten a couple, you know, because now like I can't sell that thing. You know, it's like I kind of pigeonholed myself.
And then if you did sell it, then it would like 10x right after you sell it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I'm more of a holder. Um, I just believe in this long term, and I think that you know we haven't even seen museums coming in yet. Like once, and they're believe me, I know by personal experience. Like I've talked to them just off the cuff, like, oh hey, yeah, we're getting into NFTs. We're doing like an initiative to learn more and just like be educated, and that's the biggest first step, right? They're like, yeah, I'm with LA County Museum of Art, or I'm with the MoMA, and they kind of like said you. you're going to go learn about NFTs, right? So it's cool to like welcome these people in and just be a Sherpa, help them get to the mountain and just introduce because, you know, the reason I came in here was to kind of prove the tech as just a user and a collector to show that these assets can move back and forth because I was just waiting and kind of hoping that a bunch of us could prove this in a way that the big guys like Shepard Fairey or Damien Hirst or Banksy, these like contemporary blue chip artists would enter once they saw that it worked. And that started happening. Shepard Fairey has done a major generative release and some one of ones. So it's Damien Hirst has had a big
Yes.
burn physical release. It's happening, right? Again,
Which one's
there
more valuable, the physical or the NFT?
isn't that the question? I mean, oof, that's a very hard question. And that's one of the ones I missed. I did not get a Damien Hirst, and I was kind of upset.
You're
I'll
like,
tell you.
I'll buy it for less later.
I fucked up. But it's hard, because yeah, I mean, I think it needs to go back to how does each person enjoy art? If you're gonna frame that, maybe it's in your family room or somewhere prominent that you're gonna look at that every day and you're gonna be like, holy shit, I own a physical Damien Hirst. I mean, who has that? Or you have a digital frame and you can, it's just consumption. I think I'll tell you, it's harder to sell a physical piece of art. I know that.
Check this one out here.
Ooh,
Oh
man.
yeah, got it framed too. Got it on the wall.
Damn. That is sick.
Love it, man.
Oh, I love making those. Those are my absolute favorite.
These are sold out, aren't they? Or you got like
That's a
maybe
big one. Is that 16 by 20?
No, this is the small one, man.
Is that the 8 by 10?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean there's some, but yeah, I appreciate it. That's what I was doing before all this NFT stuff, right? That's where it's at. And I still make them. They're extremely hard to make now because of the supply chain.
Oh.
I can't even so I have a guy who this is what he does is he prints them and it's a process. It's very difficult to do.
It's like a different material. It's like
Yeah,
hard
so
plastic.
it's a print, and then on top of it, there's a thin lens that is like ridged, has all these little ridges on it, and the ridges are what makes the 3D happen. So it merges these like if you think about it as two pictures, you print them, and it's called interlaced, where they're kind of like sliced together, and then the lens on top, it like makes them.
Okay, it's like an
beautiful.
illusion. Okay, gotcha.
But yes, the lens itself isn't making the 3D, but it's showing those pictures in such a way that whatever angle you're looking at, it pops out at you. I did not. I
It's
don't know,
badass,
but
man.
it's cool. So, but it's hard to get those lenses anymore. So, you know, those are very limited.
One of my buddies here in the comments, Chris Manowis, he's a huge fan of yours. I told him to buy one of these physicals, so he's got one
Nice.
too. He's in there.
Cool.
Oh yeah,
Awesome. I love it.
he's like, all right, just I'll buy it. And then I was telling a couple of my other buddies at work, I'm like, dude, you gotta buy this Coldie physical. Like they will sell out. Like you're not gonna be able to get one later. And then one guy waited like the next day, and they were all sold out. And I'm like, see,
Yeah. So there is gonna be another round because like I said, it's
Okay.
so hard to get these things. Like my goal is
You
to,
heard
I
it
think
here,
that's-
guys. You heard it here.
Yeah, I think those are editions of 50.
Yes.
So I think I'll be able to get them. Again, it's the lens issue, you know. So it's great for collectors because like I don't even know if I can fulfill the whole series. So they just become more rare, and also they're heat sensitive, right? So like, don't leave that in a hot car.
Oh my.
Like it'll warp. It's like a record.
It's in 68 degrees room
Yeah, you're
temperature.
good. No, you're totally good. But like I've left these in like my car accidentally. Like we're talking in an hour. It's like a vinyl record. It'll just warp on you and you're fucked.
Ooh.
So like the scarcity will continue, you know, because inevitably, you know, heat or whatever will affect. That's the problem with physical art, right? Like that's the Damien Hirst issue. It's like, well, what if there's a leak in the wall and gets all over your painting or your print? Well, that's ruined. That's kind of
You
what
can't get another
NFTs
one.
solve.
You can't hit him up and be like, "Hey, dude, my
No,
print messed up.
yeah,
I'm gonna need you to send me one." Like,
yeah.
no.
No, that'll never happen. They can't. Yeah, it costs money to go in print runs. They can't one off these things. So it's just tough luck. So I think that is why I primarily collect digital art as opposed to physical. But that being said, I've bought way more physical art, not even from NFT people, just from other artists after I got into NFT collecting. It's just like the appreciation for collecting has taken over. Let me show you one. This is a fun one. Hold on.
I see the ones behind you there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a Matt Cain, physical, which is a Grail, and this is from Async. This is Mozart Beats, a record. So this one's I found this on Etsy.
There you go. A little bit down. A little bit down. Right there.
There you go. So it's a painting, oil painting of a silica packet, and it's brilliant. I love it. It's in my kitchen, and it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Like the subject matter is just bizarre.
It's so simple looking.
Yeah, it's simple, but it's like the colors on it are beautiful, and like I just saw it on Etsy. I'm like, I'm buying that. It's like that's the thing with me. Like I don't know what I want until I see it. And that was it. Like, did I ever dream of owning an oil painting of a silica packet? No,
That's
but
funny.
I want more.
That reminds me. There's this guy Noah something on Twitter, and he's just came out of nowhere. I don't know if he does NFTs. I tweeted at him. I'm like, dude, you got to make NFTs. But he's doing
Yeah,
like oil paintings of Taco Bell, like with
cool.
the cheesy gordita crunch and the Mountain Dew. He has oil paintings of peanut butter jelly sandwiches, and I'm like,
Mm,
bro, this is like so next level. I'm like,
yep,
you need to get into NFTs. It's just again going back to what you said, we're just extremely early, and I think
yeah,
there's some artists out there that just they haven't like accepted it yet that it's like a
sure.
real thing. So it wouldn't surprise me to see some crazy shit go down in the next
Yeah.
even 2 years, or the next Bitcoin halving cycle is what I tell everybody.
Yeah, exactly. It's cyclical, but I also think that I don't even as an artist, there's a lot of people who just don't release stuff when the market's down, and I just don't get into that mindset. Like
Right.
it's just toxic to me to like wait or think that like, it's kind of not the point. When I finish a project, I'm not going to sit on it and just like wait, like it's done. I want to do something else now. So this is released. It's like waiting for bull and bear markets has no bearing on me as a collector or an artist. And so this is a good example. I've been sitting on, I shot a series from 2009 to 2018. This is all pre NFTs. I shot a series of 3D concert photography. And I'm like the only guy for sure of this time period that was shooting these bands. Oh, yeah, awesome. So I shot all these pictures for, 19 to, but basically 10 years. I would go to shows. This is from Coachella. I was the official 3D photographer, as funny as that is, in 2009 and 2010. Like they just gave me a full access pass and just said, go, have fun.
That's crazy.
They put on their website it's up there for like 5 years. They had this like 3D photography gallery, like just some weird shit.
It's
And
crazy how you
I,
got the UFO in there too. Nice job.
yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
And the
So
record
this
player
one,
thing too.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, my love is art and music. So it was fun on this, I love shooting crowds in general, especially the depth you can get. It's just fucking phenomenal how far it's as far back as you can see of people. It's insane. And when I realized that I could kind of blend this collage style, because I've done those in NFTs over the years, right? So I was like, holy shit, I can put the record on top of the people, and it's like a whole new piece. It was super exciting. And this one is from 2011. This is the Flaming Lips. They were so cool. They let me shoot their entire show. Usually you get like 3 songs. I was sitting there for 3 hours,
Oh.
like chilling. I would take like joint breaks. I would just sit down and like smoke a J. It was so
Proud
great.
to.
And yeah, I mean, these, I made my own 3D camera and I hacked it together and I just reached out to bands that I loved and said, hey, man, I'm shooting these 3D concert pictures. Um, they're just interesting and artistic. And, a lot of the bands were actually pretty open for it. So, bless them for giving me an opportunity. And, what you're looking at here is a GIF, right? So this is like the cheapened version of 3D where you can see the shifting, right? You kind of get the idea. But when the collector purchases the NFT, you can unlock the anaglyph, which is the red and blue glasses that you have on,
Oh.
and then also a VR version where you can put this on your Quest or your whatever they call it, the Meta, and look at that was really what I was waiting for. For 13 years, I said, someday the technology is going to catch up to the stereoscopic image, and I will be able to look at these in full color 3D.
Wow.
And only for my own amusement. Like there was never a monetization strategy. It's like I'm going to all these concerts anyways. If I can get a free ticket and a photo pass to my favorite bands, that is the monetization strategy.
Yes.
Like an awesome experience.
And free
It's
joint
all-
breaks? Come on.
Oh yeah. Go smoke a J, come back. Um, so that was it. And now that it actually works, and I had an opening up in Seattle. So right now there's an opening in the Seattle NFT Museum and Gazelio Art House in London. It was a simultaneous like dual continent release, whatever you want to say. But they're in person where you could walk in there and put the VR goggles on and look at them also with the red and blue glasses. So a deeply important project to me and it was time to come out. It wasn't, I'm not gonna wait till the market's heating up. Right? That's just not how I roll. So here they are. Like I don't really care. They're done. And now I'm rocking and rolling. I just actually also finished up a series that was I did a series called Decentralized Mashup that was on Async Blueprints.
Yep.
And it was a collection of my portraits that were all jumbled up. Like 10 different people would jumble into a new portrait. And there was about 600 of those that were jumbled and released. And what I did was I created basically, I hate saying utility. It's not a utility. It's more of like a way to grow the ecosystem where there were 2 paths, and one of them was burning 5 DIs for the collector. If they burned 5, they got to pick one of those, and I would make that into a 3D VR sculpture of the same portrait, right?
Here's one of
So
them
actually,
right here.
yeah, exactly. So that's the mashup. So you can see there's let's see, the Winklevoss, there is Warren Buffett, there is Julian Assange, there's a bunch of different people. There are a lot of Buffets on this one. So each of these are different traits, right? That have different rarities. And when someone would burn them, let's see, why don't you type in Ascended Collection or up on the main search? Let's see. V2, yeah, that one, that one. I just finished minting these last night, so
Woo.
I don't even have the header up. So click on any of them, really. So we can see now they're in perspective, right? That's the first shift. But then what I did was I built these where if you click and drag around, they're 3D sculptures. And you can take those and put them in your on cyber gallery or your Mona. All these metaverses use this file format. So now when you're showing all your digital art up on the walls, you can have this sculpture like in the middle of the floor where you can just like walk around it.
Oh, that's so cool.
And that's what makes me happy, like doing weird shit, you know, really just for my own amusement.
That's they kind of remind me the whole 3D NFTs. I think the first time I seen them was on Artifacts.
Okay. Yep.
That was the first time I actually like seen a 3D NFT where you could like click and move it around like this.
Yep.
It sounds
Yep. I
like
love Roger. I love that whole
oh my
team. And then
god.
there's an alpha, not alpha drop that let's just say I really love those guys.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean, this is kind of a foray where we're talking about evolving and being early, where I'm moving more so or adding to where I not only do flat animation art, but now I'm getting into mixed reality where you can look at this in AR, you can look at this in VR, and it's different and it's kind of pushing my own limits of how can I create interesting art, and what tools can I learn? Just like Osinachi had Microsoft Word, well, I'm trying to learn new stuff so that I can get past Photoshop and After Effects. I love them and I'll continue to use them. They're great for certain projects, but for these portraits, getting them into like a 3D VR situation, extremely satisfying as a creator.
Now, do you see like moving forward more like integration with your like VR and stuff like that and seeing like digital art galleries on like your, Oculus or something? Do you see that being more of a thing? Or is it kind of
Yeah.
already or
Yeah, I mean, there's already been little. They're testing it, right? They're seeing what the engagement
so
is.
it's kind of like in beta still.
Yeah, absolutely. They're field testing right before they go full on. I mean, the best thing I hate to say it, the best thing that ever happened to NFT and metaverse was the whole COVID situation.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
it really was like
I agree. Cuz that's
it
when
was.
I got into it,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah. It really. Yeah, and it's nuts because like it needed a reason to exist, right? This whole Web3 thing is like, do we have a problem that we're fixing or are we just creating stuff, right? So when we were all stuck at home and needed shit to ingest, holy shit, we got the metaverse. Oh my God, like maybe you liked to go to galleries, but you couldn't go to the gallery. Well, damn, now you can go to Super Rare and you're getting this feed of art, right? And maybe it's feeding that need in you. So I think, I mean, personally, I really like took off during that time. I was working at home, so I wasn't in a cubicle, so I was able to like double dip, right? Like, as long as you get your work done, in my mind, you can fill your time however needed.
Mhm.
So I'd get my work done. My boss was all happy, and then I'd have some time and be like, "Holy shit, I'm gonna go build a crypto voxel gallery right now," you know. And it was awesome. And well, actually, I could tell a quick story about that. Back in it was Bitcoin 2020. There was a big show every year in San Francisco, and I had been the prior year. It's a couple hour drive for me, so it's easy to get to. And that's where I met Trevor. I met so many, dude. It was like, oh my God, everyone was there. Like Josie was
Oh
there,
wow.
Trevor was there. Oh my God, Chief Monkey. It was a little Renaissance time.
Pac
It was
was
really
there in a
cool.
disguise somewhere.
I'm sure. Yeah, it was that type of show, honestly. Like there was a guy dancing who I won't say who it was, but I was like looking at this guy dancing. He was just going for it. He's dressed all funky, and someone's like, you know that guy? I was like, no, who is that? They're like, oh, that's the fourth highest Bitcoin holder, like in the world. Like
What?
just chilling, dancing, and no one's giving a shit. But like you could tell, like there was that type of situation where it was the inside, like on the tip of the spear people that were just a bunch of nerds.
I'm
We were
surprised
just
that person didn't have like a entourage, like bodyguards or something. Like,
yeah, that's how
wow.
that's how we rolled. There was no issues, and that was great. It was just a safe place for us all to hang out and be nerdy in our different ways. So, anyways, the next year was coming around, and all of us were getting our show ready, like my lenticulars. I was, you have to print this stuff. Like it costs a lot of money to get prepared for a physical show. So all of us across the world, Trevor, Chief Monkey Josie, all of us were getting our prints made, gearing up for this thing, and they shut down or they postponed it at the time.
Oh,
Like we're talking like 2 weeks before the show.
right after you had
And
everything ready.
yeah, everything's ready to go. Like, and you got to invest. You know how this is business. You got to invest in materials to sell it, to pay for your trip and all that shit. You just want to break even. So all of us were like, "What the hell? This sucks." And I had somewhat recently purchased a group of crypto voxel plots. And people who don't know what that is, it's an Ethereum virtual world, kind of like Minecraft, very kind of lo-fi, but fun and retro. It's kind of fun. So I was like, what do I do? Like this sucks, and I'm like a problem solver instead of like a complainer. It's like, wow, this sucks, but how do we spin this? How do we do something here? So I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna take my plots, and you can build galleries pretty quick. So I was like, okay. I reached out to everybody who's going to be at the show. I said, hey, if you want in, I'll set it up. Send me some JPEGs and a link to your site. And hopefully, maybe we'll get some sales. Why
Yeah.
not? So I spent, probably took me a week or so. It was a lot of work to get everybody placed, curated. It was fun. Like I set up a gallery in a week. And I got the conference to help retweet it. Like they were excited. I was like, dude, let's rally. Let's like turn this into something. And it was nuts, dude. I had to talk to the Crypto Voxels team to like throttle the servers because word was getting around. It's like in high school where there's that huge party coming up on the weekend and like you hear about it from someone at like the community college. Like that happened to a party I was throwing in high school. My friend Matt threw it. I was working at In-N-Out, and this chick comes up to me who's working there. She went to the local community college. She's like, dude, there's a rager going on this weekend. Are you going? And I was like, oh yeah. And she told me where. I was like, oh shit, that's our party. Like, and so word got around like that. So I was like, holy shit. So I told the Crypto Voxels team that I think you need to work on the server load. I might crash your server. And I did. Like, so in 3
You
days,
got Xbox achievement points for doing that?
yeah, yeah. In 3 days, I had 5,000 users come through,
Damn.
and that was like that didn't happen, and it was like a moment in time that I heard from many different people where it clicked, and like it proved that we can have community online and communicate and meet people and appreciate art and sell art. Artists were selling shit. Like it was really fun
That's
at a very scary time. There were people who were in there. They told me multiple days for like 6 hours at a time
Wow.
because they needed to escape from whatever fear, whatever was going on. They felt calm and happy in crypto voxels. So that's all I wanted, right? So I think that as it's gone on and virtual worlds continue to evolve, that rallying point will continue to grow into such a way that maybe the Louvre or whatever museum is gonna have a dynamic metaverse experience where I'm in California. I don't know how I'm gonna get to the Louvre. Like that's a lot of planning and money. But maybe I could pay them a couple euro and do a virtual tour and in VR, and maybe that checks the box more or less. So I think it's gonna happen. It's just again, they don't understand the tech enough yet.
Sure, and that can increase their revenue. I mean,
Oh yeah.
they're gonna have extra people attending the museum. Like, the best way to do it, I would think, is to do it VR versus just, oh yeah, it's just the people that are coming here physically. Like, there's a cutoff there. So if you're expanding your audiences and you're able to bring people that actually aren't there, they're definitely going to be increasing their revenue and increasing their awareness about what kind of art pieces they have. Maybe some collectors want to hit them up that way. So, yeah, I agree with you, and it'll be interesting to see how they use this technology moving forward.
Yeah, it's just up to us, whether we're consumers, creators, or just appreciators of like pushing it ahead. It's like it's just kind of being a little bit alpha and just like going up to, say you're at a museum and there's someone who works there, just go up to them and ask them, so when are you going to be in the metaverse? Even if you absolutely know that they have no plans on it, the more we can just talk about it and make it a conversation topic, because you never know. They might be like, huh, that's a wonderful idea. Like we need to, however we interact with others, just have it become a conversation topic,
Hmm.
talk about your NFTs and, maybe not in a pump and dump context,
For sure.
like just how can we all rally? Because if we don't all rally, it's going to be way harder. Like no single artist or collector is going to make this thing mass adopt.
Right.
It's just impossible.
It's
It's
it's got to be everybody. It's got to be a collective amount of people doing this.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I kind of take on that responsibility myself. I'm a car salesman here in the Springs, and so it's a great icebreaker or great discussion to just bring up while you're waiting for the finance department, or you're
Cool.
just want to sit down and get to know the guy better. You're like, hey, have you heard of NFTs? And
Yep.
majority of people will say, what? You're
Yep.
like, hey, let me show you these JPEGs that I collect here, and why they're meaningful to me and why I still have them.
That's
So, and
awesome.
just showing them, most of the people are like, I've never even heard of this. And
Yeah.
there's another like realization. You're like, oh my gosh, like not a lot of people have heard of these. Like, even though like they have had it like on the news, like Beeple making the $69 million sale, and
Sure.
like Bored Ape Yacht Club, Justin Bieber buying one, or Von Miller from the Broncos. So I think things like these will continue to happen, and need to happen, in order to grow our community and keep moving forward here. So
I totally agree. It's funny when you brought that up. Actually, when I was buying a car and I was in that same situation, waiting for finance or whoever the sales guy was, and I literally like same thing. I just brought it up, and he was totally into it. Like
oh yeah,
he wasn't like a collector, but he had heard about it and he just wanted more info. Like we almost had to like extend our time. Just he just wanted more and more. It was great. So
what kind of
that's
car did you
awesome.
buy?
Good. I got a used a Nissan Murano.
Hmm. Nice car.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, it was. I got a steal of a deal. It was a 2015, and I guess like at a certain point they have to price cars lower because of their year. So like when I was walking out of that place, the guys were like, "How did you find this car?" I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
"Oh, I was not lucky."
It was aged inventory. So if the car's been there for, let's say, over 60 days, they want to try to price it like to where people are seeing it online, and it'll just get somebody to come in and buy
Yeah,
that car,
yeah,
or it just brings in traffic.
sure,
We those are called price leaders. It's funny because
sure.
I've been doing this for a while now, and we'll have people come in on the price leader, and so they're like, I just want to see this car. And so
Yeah.
I'll look at it. I'm like, okay, okay, nice. I'll go show them. I go, did you know it was rear-wheel drive? Oh, no, 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 no. There's no way I could buy that car. Okay, well then let's go look at some other cars.
Sure,
you know.
sure, sure.
So just
Oh
to
yeah,
get people into the door, it sounds like you lucked out on the price leader.
yeah, no, yeah. I so far so good. I like it.
Was your salesman pretty good?
Yeah, I got it through CarMax,
Oh,
so this is
okay.
very, very low pushiness. They're kind
Right.
of like, do what you want, which I appreciated it. I mean, I was like, cool. Like, they're like, we don't care. I'm like, great.
I try to like bring both aspects because I work at a Ford dealership and it's not like CarMax where it's like full commercial yet. Eventually, all dealerships will move that way, but I
Yeah,
try to make it like low pressure. Like, hey, I'm just here to help you. Whatever car you're looking at, just let me know, and I'll do whatever I can to help out. I'm just
yeah,
here to get to know you and show you the process. So
which is the way it should be, you know. I mean, I take that same kind of mindset when it goes to like selling art or pamping things. I'm very much the passive, give you information and let you make the decision, because shit, like no need to be pushy.
well,
No, no one likes that.
and I think it's easier for the buyer to feel better about the purchase or like ease into the purchase better because nobody wants to be told to do something.
Yeah,
Like growing up, your mom or dad would tell you to do things, and you're like, that's the last thing you wanted to do.
yeah,
So it's same thing like later down the road, you don't want to be told what to do. So
yeah,
yeah, the least pushy you can be, probably the better.
yeah. I totally agree. That's awesome. That's funny. Small cycle world. That's funny.
So we're already at an hour. Can't believe it. It's just flown by. Usually we cut it off at about an hour. There was a couple more things I wanted to go over, and
I got time
then
if you want. I don't care.
we'll have to shut it down after that.
Yeah, I'm having a great time. I'm not in any rush.
Oh, thanks, man. Okay, so one of the releases you had on Nifty Gateway was the Undead by Coldie and Bajas.
Yeah.
And maybe just kind of run us down, how you got involved with Bauhaus, what led you to do the drop, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so I was approached by their team, and um, their team. One of the guys was a collector that I knew, and we chatted back and forth, for a while. We kind of knew each other, and he's like, "Hey, dude, I have this opportunity. Would you be interested?" And I love music and art, so it wasn't. It's not always like I'll do anything. I'm not just like a commission type artist. So I wanted to make sure it kind of resonated with what I would want to produce. It's not just like I didn't want it to be a cash grab, you know. So I've always I didn't grow up with Bauhaus. I knew their music, but what I really always loved was their distressed imagery. Like it was very photocopied, super grungy and fucked up, like before grunge, right? So aesthetically, I loved Bauhaus already. Like their vibes were my vibes, and I always knew Bela Lugosi's Dead. It's like a fucking anthem, right? It's just an epic song. So all these things were, it was kind of like, I never thought that I would collaborate with Bauhaus, but it was the perfect opportunity to collaborate with Bauhaus, right? So, I was just working with them, and whenever I do a collab, both sides have to come together, to make it a true collab. So, we got the audio, I asked them to send me like photos, like go into your photo album or wherever your archive and send me some stuff, because I do collage. So the more stuff you can send me, the more I have to work with. I got handwritten lyrics. Those are the touches that make it bigger than go on Google and find some stuff. That doesn't really excite me all the time. So, they sent me a bunch of stuff. One of them, the one on the left, uses red and blue 3D glasses. Um, I just love the depth on that. Like as a stereographer, that made me happy, right? And it works. So there's that one, and then there's two other ones that are animated because not everybody has these 3D glasses. I mean, everyone should. If you don't have 3D glasses, like fix your life. Get
Oh,
some 3D.
oh, that
There
that
you go.
that one's got to be my favorite, brother. I actually want to tell the audience. I think I told you the story here. Somebody won the one of 21 for $1, and like right after they threw it up for like $500.
Oh wow.
And I was sitting on the couch with my girlfriend. It was like 11:23 here. I just happened to look at the activity, and I seen this number 1 of 21 for $500, and I'm like, no effing way, and like went on and bought it, and I was like, no, like it was unreal, man. So I appreciate the opportunity to have that one. I
Good.
currently have it in cold storage, so
Congratulations, dude. That I love and know that feeling quite well, where you can't jump up fast enough, And I think that's collecting, right? And you saw it was a great deal. It's like a 2-for-1. Like, holy shit.
yeah.
That's the whole point of this whole thing. Like that's what I wanted, was somebody to resonate so much they jumped out of their fucking chair.
Oh, my girlfriend was like, "What's going on? Like, are you okay?" Like, I just couldn't even talk. And then shortly after I bought it, Nest Graphics hit me up, and he's like, "No fucking way! Like, you just sniped this piece."
Nice.
And I was like, "Hell yeah, dude! What do you expect?"
Hell yeah.
So yeah,
That's
I just
assassin. Good move.
love
Good
it,
move.
man.
Well, I'm honored, dude. And do you also have Bella glasses? Do you have the Bauhaus glasses?
Um,
If not, I will send you a pair, because I got special glasses made that are Bauhaus glasses.
I don't have those. I got a signed pair of these that I'm wearing now. So I have two of these. I have one that's
Okay.
not signed that I'm wearing, and then
Yeah.
the other ones that I have signed are like put away. So I don't have the Bella glasses.
Oh well, I mean, this is for you and anybody who owns that edition. I definitely send the same thing, double pair, so that you can, and I sign like the edition that you own,
Oh shit.
So like I want these glasses to kind of be a little connector to the
Complement
digital.
each other.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll set that up.
Yeah.
I gotta
Yeah, we'll talk.
gotta make sure you have the full set.
Oh yeah. They'll be locked away in the vault.
I love it.
Air conditioned, 68 degrees.
Yeah. The glasses can hold a little bit more heat, but that's funny. Yeah, that's awesome. That was a fun drop.
Had a lot of people enter in the raffle.
Yeah, it was popular for sure, and the editions went quick. It was well consumed, and that was still like, geez, what was that? At least a year at least ago.
It
I think
feels
last August or something.
it feels like it was just the other month, but
I think it was like almost
let's
an
see if there's a
exact
date
year
on
from
there.
now.
There's probably a date on here somewhere. Here we go. Released August 10th, 2021.
Damn, that's like
So it's
right
like the anniversary, pretty much.
I love it.
That's
I love
badass.
that. And that feels like a lifetime ago. Like that's
It does.
crypto land for you, dude. Like you said, you're gonna get gray hairs. My hair just fell out.
You skipped the gray hair phase.
Yeah, I just went to no hair.
That's so funny.
That's crazy. But
Another
yeah,
another drop here. Your most, I don't know if it's like your most recent collab, but one
oh yeah,
meaningful drop here to me and also the POC community and ecosystem, because this is where I got started here, was Fomoverse Radio, based off of the NFT Fomoverse. So seeing you collab with one of my favorite creators just blew me away, and having this Form 1 and Form 2 is just so neat, man. So kudos to you on this piece and making that collab happen. That's a pretty big deal.
yeah. Thanks. That was a really fun project, and the group of artists involved were super
my
cool.
gosh.
I'm actively collecting all of those. That's I think a largely overlooked collection. I mean, geez, I literally was just buying like a Sarah Zucker. Let's just see, I have Sarah, Raph. I'm trying to get a
Adam Swap, Dell,
Yep.
Roger
Yep, the
Kilimanjaro.
Yeah. There's Ness. I
Pussy
mean, there's a
Riot.
who's who. Yeah, it's a who's who type of group. And so for mine, it's a version 1, version 2, and all my art is kind of story based, or there's something I want to get across to people. So it was really fun to have these two, and also to think about what order I wanted to release them in. And life is fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
Just being a human is not an easy experience. And it was great to start it off with the life is hard because, that's just the way life is at times, at least. And then if you burned it, you get the rosy colored one that life is good, right? And it's just the balance of life where for this one, if you went through the extra steps of burning and doing all this work, you get a little bonus, and it's a little bit more like maybe cheery or uplifting. Yeah, here's the color one. And I've used X-rays in a lot of my artwork, so it's kind of a throwback. Those are old vintage X-rays that I put um, rock texture over the top to kind of have it be like a mountain.
It kind of
Um,
reminds me of like your like gold miner pieces,
yeah,
or the
absolutely.
like again like the UFO, like the stereoscopic photos. They all kind of have like a they share some similar characteristics, which is neat.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I try to weave different visual styles together so they're different pieces, but ultimately the goal is, like you said, if someone knows of my art, when they see it, they can be like, "Oh yeah, that's a
That's
Coldie
Coldie,
style."
right?
Yeah, and I sign everything, and I've gotten that question many times, like, "Why do you sign your art?" Because it's on the blockchain. Like people can find out who it is. And while that's absolutely true and one of the best use cases for digital assets like provenance, I also know that when I go to a gallery and I'm walking through it, I know that their name is on the little description card next to it. Absolutely. But if I'm staring at the art and it says Warhol, or it says Kandinsky, you know, it's it's more tangible to me that they signed the piece personally. So it's another step of reinforcing that I'm the artist that made this. It's important, and I actually sign my photographs too, which photographers don't usually write on their images. It's usually like you know in the border below or something like that. And to me, it's part of consistency also, where it's like, well, this is what I do as I sign my works, right? So it was actually kind of cool to do those 3D pictures, but then also put my image in there in a 3D way because it has to be in there properly. So the 3D signature has to pop off as well. So there's
Nice.
all these projects speak to each other. They're all literally connected and learning from each other. And that drop was super fun to be a part of. And collectors in general, if you're looking to pick up a well curated set of artworks for relatively inexpensive, like what is that point? Was it 0.27? I think was my floor on those. Like I might go fucking buy some. Like I'm a collector too. It wouldn't be the first time I've bought back my own art. Like
You believe in yourself.
I'm savage. I believe in myself a lot. Like, and you actually pulled up briefly my first Genesis piece on Super Rare. Is the Metallic number 3 or number 2? I forget which one it is.
Boom! I got it pulled up.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, variant one. So this one of the early collectors I was mentioning, VK Crypto. If you scroll down or you go to the history of this on the right side, quite a fascinating little history
VK
here.
Crypto here.
Yeah, so VK paid me 1.5, I think,
Yep.
and at the time that was like $130 or something, or very very low. And I was stoked, man. I don't care. I was like, just the same thing. This guy liked it. He offered me what at the time was a lot of money. Like that was a lot. I was like, dude, thanks for the support. And then I think a year later or so, he put it up for sale. He sold everything one day. He just decided that he was done.
He's gonna mass exit.
And it was a crazy day. Like I remember when that happened, all the X copies, he had like 5 X copy one of ones, and they were like very fairly priced, like too low. And I wrote him. I was like, dude, um, why are you selling this stuff so cheap? I didn't care that my price was low. I didn't care at all. I was like looking out for the guys. Like, dude, you could get at least double for all this shit. Like, what are you doing? And he was so nice. He's like, I want the next collector to benefit as much as me. So he was like giving half off deals. I was like, whoa, like wow, that's crazy. So my piece, my Genesis piece, was up there for 17 ether, which was ridiculous. I'm a collector. I know what market values are. I was like, holy shit. So I bought it back.
Yeah.
I freaking bought it back,
Yeah.
you know? So I sold it for 130 bucks, and then I bought it back for $17,000. Right? And I told my mom about it, and she looked at me like I was fucking insane. She's
like,
and I couldn't
Coldie,
wait.
you went too far here, Coldie. That's what,
She's like, I had to tell her because I knew it was going to throw her off. I was like, Mom, I bought back my own art for a lot of money. She's like, what are you thinking? I was like, I think it's a good investment, you know? So like now I own my own Genesis piece. I mean, that's the story. Like I sold it years ago and I was able to get it back, and now it's mine, right? Most people can't get their Genesis pieces back
no.
ever. And I don't know, like that'll end up being a lineage. I don't even know what's going to happen with that. But it's just like, it was like Indiana Jones, right? I just like went into the damn temple and I got it. Right?
That's so cool. Without the tunnel collapsing on you or anything. You know?
It
you made it
probably
up.
did. I don't remember. I ran so fast I wasn't looking behind me.
That's so funny.
But I also, that same day, I also got like a really early Matt Cain and a really early Pindar Van Arman piece. Like, it was a grail sale, and they were up for a couple days. It was like still so early that the vultures didn't know about it. You know, I actually went back a couple like, should I buy this Matt Cain? And if people don't know Matt Cain, stop your life, okay, and go look at Gazers by Matt Cain. Is and this piece again behind me. That's Bitcoin volatility. He is a coder and a visionary artist that is decades or centuries ahead of his own time. Yeah, I got an early Matt Cain. It was fantastic. It was really fantastic. So Matt Kane, we'll get you to him.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Guy.
that's Matt. He has done a multitude of just out of this world projects. He's a
Okay,
fantastic.
that piece behind you really reminds me of this work right here. So
Yeah,
wow.
so that's all part of the series he did with Async, where whenever the price of Bitcoin changes, that artwork is changing like in real time.
Oh,
it's truly
is it what do they call that? Not dynamic. Is it dynamic?
I would call it would be dynamic. It's like hooked up to the API of like the price of Bitcoin. So the crazier the day, like the one I have is like a really chaotic thing. Like everything's offset a lot because on that, I think it's like January 10th, 2019. It was like some crazy day when Bitcoin went up or down like 30%. So the artwork just, whatever it's coded to do, it just like goes chaos, right?
Whoa. Okay, this is all of his stuff here. Here we go. Do you have any of these here?
I do. I own one of those blank records.
Blank records.
And I think I own one of those Conquerors, possibly. I definitely. Oh yeah. I own a couple of the A Lot of Monies. R.I.P. A Lot of Money.
Yeah, for sure. R.I.P.
Oh yeah, no, a lot of I really he was such a genuine, nice guy, man. These are Matt's collection, and Matt.
Oh, this is his stuff. Okay.
His collection, but
Okay.
another alpha drop is, if you want to collect good stuff, look at what good artists are buying. Like, that's the alpha tip for the day. Like, do your own research, but also do market research on people you admire. And I admire Matt, and as an artist, and he's a he's a fierce collector. He is very, very good. He has a great eye. So like, I collect a lot of these things too. Like we share a lot of aesthetic loves. Like, and just to give some love to these people, like Wizard X, awesome trash artist. Mr. Ritchie, he did I think that's called Money Laundering. I have a couple of those. Basilius, yeah, these money laundering pieces. It's like kind of like Warhol and punk. Yeah,
Which, by the way, I was talking to a collector in Scotland, and he made the comment that you could be the next Andy Warhol. So
Oh wow.
figured you'd like that comment. I just wanted to tell you
I
that.
will accept the compliment, and that's very nice. And Andy was on his own wave, and I'll tell you that one of the most important shows I went to early on in my life when I was in art school. My uncles took me to this show in Los Angeles. It was a Warhol retrospective. It's those moments early in life that kind of like plant seeds where I went off and found my own style and aesthetic, but it's rooted in pop art, right? So I mean, that's a huge honor that I could even be in a sentence with that guy, So I think that's cool that there's some type of it's when art appreciates art in different ways that's cool that collector aesthetically or for whatever reason likes that. That's awesome. That's great. I'm just trying to do weird shit.
That's good.
But much like Andy would do with his screen printing and fucking up multiples. He was trailblazing on his side, and as an artist, you look at that and you take the essence of it without stealing the actual idea. Like, could I do multiples of a face on a canvas? And yeah, but he already did it. Like, what's the point?
The Campbell
I'm
suit.
not yeah. I'm not a derivative style artist, as much as I can help it. We're definitely all inspired by things, and it comes out in our art. So it's that fine line of how can you homage somebody while also having it completely yours. And that's, to me, what I search for when I'm creating. Because I could hold up an artwork or an album cover or something as like, this was my jumping off point. These were the pictures that inspired me. And then from there, I kind of rabbit dive and just fucking, I don't know, just like trust the process and just start making.
That's beautiful, man. Well, I'm going to have one more question for you, or one more question. This one comes up a lot, and I think people don't really understand it, and it's probably just a real simple thing. Tell everybody what the Coldie method means.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a fun story. Again, but we're talking probably 2019. I started doing it, but maybe 18. On Super Rare, there were no auctions. It was just a bidding situation where you would get an offer, and then it was up to you at whatever point to accept it or just not accept it. It was just, there was no auction. So there's no way to do like any finality. You could just pick, right? I didn't like the arbitrary nature of it. So problem solving, I was like, what do I do? So I decided I would make up an auction method, right? And it's not the first time a reserve auction's ever been done. I'm not claiming that at all. But using this reserve auction, I would say, hey, let's say the reserve's 1 ether. I would put on Twitter, new artwork release. The reserve is 1 ether. When somebody bids 1 ether, I'm going to start a manual clock, based on the timestamp of the ether scan, So a bid would come in, And I would say, okay, a new tweet. This is all done over Twitter. I would say, okay, the auction has started. The high bidder is, we'll just say Basilius. He's one of my awesome
Nice.
friends and collectors. He started it off, and here's where the difference came in, right? Usually there's a timer that's just, let's call it a day, right? A day goes by, and at the end of that 24-hour cycle, if someone bids at the end, it'll extend it by, let's call it 5 minutes. There's always like a little extension. That's normal. Okay. Well, I didn't like that method because a couple things were happening. One of them was there's collectors all over the world. So these collectors are very smart. They know who else is buying, and they're going to trigger that bid at a time when it's 3 a.m. for the other guy. And they're hoping he's going to sleep through the timer. It gets like that. Okay. So I saw that game and I said, shenanigans, we're not playing that. And so my solution, which was a test, was to say, whenever there's a new bid, at that point, I'm going to reset the 24-hour clock. So it's a whole nother day. So the goal was to allow people to do their daily life, go to work, do the family, do your chores, do life. But in that 24 hours, you have the ability to check in on the auction, right? And it leveled the playing field and it extended the auction time, which was good for everybody, So what would happen would be there would start being bidding wars. And sometimes these things would go on for, 3 or 4 days because, someone would bid and then, 16 hours later, another bid would come in and it would start a whole other day. And it became like almost a little community thing where people would be able to follow along and then, you'd start doing the bidding war tweets and it was just excitement, right? And it got more eyes on the art too, right? It's a good reason to keep talking about your art. So when the bidding war would happen, you'd get 3 collectors sometimes going in on these things and it was fun seeing, if one guy bid and the next person, then it like starts over again. So I kind of, the Coldie method like enables open, like fair bidding across the world. And I didn't anymore have to choose on Super Rare. Like it wasn't like a favoritism thing where it's like, oh, I like that guy, I'm gonna give it to him.
Right.
I don't like that. That's not the point of any of this. So it took me out of the equation where I didn't have to feel bad because someone else was like, dude, you didn't accept mine, but then he bid $5 more and you accepted his? Like, I don't like those games.
Then it makes you look bad. Right.
Yeah. So I was like, I want to get as far away from the selling as possible. I'll facilitate the auction. You guys figure it out. Right? Like that felt way better. So that when the timer was up, there were times where I remember I had my laptop literally like next to my bed and I would have an alarm go off at like 2:37 a.m. and I'd wake up, log on to Super Rare, check if there was another bid, and then say it was at 2:30, no more bids, hit accept, and then go back to bed. Like it was very manual, but it worked. And then more people started using it. I remember Sarah Zucker was one of the first ones that was like really a proponent because she saw just this new option and value of auctioning. And after that, you're talking about artifacts.
Yep.
They literally are official users of the Coldie method. And me and Roger got to know each other through this. And it was important to me that if someone was gonna use the actual method, they had to use the actual method because there's plenty of ways to have it be kind of close. But in order for me to like condone the use of the name, it has to be those specific triggers on the auction. And Roger was all about it.
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
It was great. It's awesome because when Artifacts does an auction for their one-of-ones, they announce they're like, hey, we're doing the Coldie method on this one, and it's becoming part of the community, where it's a style that people are learning. And at the same time, I've had collectors come to me who don't like it, and I've lost a couple of collectors because of this method. And I don't care.
You know, I feel like you're always going to have some people that, you know, maybe they don't agree with you exactly what, you know, your points are. And I think it's just important to stick with your own roots and stick with what you believe is right. And I think that'll pan out for you just fine in the future, like it already has.
Yeah. I'm trying to be more and more authentic, you know, just for what I stand for. And it's just one of those things. It's like, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but this is the plan, dude. Like, deal with it or don't. I don't, you know.
Just put in some earplugs, man. You'll be good.
Yeah. But again, we're just experimenting. That was simply an experiment that went right the first time. And I had to figure out a solution to a problem. And I'm happy that now other people can enjoy it as well. Because I'm, you know, that's what this is all about, is like improving the ecosystem for all. So yeah, big shout out to Roger and Artifacts. Again, if people don't know about that project, awesomely curated artists on there. They do editions as well as what you're saying, 3D VR artworks. I mean, they're pushing it ahead too, right? So I think there's certain projects that I love to see growing, and they're one of them. Yeah,
they definitely pushing it to the next level too with their VR worlds as well. Yep.
And it reminds me I need to talk to Roger, so that'll be our loose alpha drop.
There you go. Cool. You heard it, guys, here first. Well, Coldie, again, thank you so much for coming on here. We got to wrap this up. We're going to play the audience your Coldie Method remix video again by Eclectic Method.
Eclectic Method,
okay.
And before you do that, let me just give Eclectic some quick love because he is the shit. The guy does all these things by hand and sound. You know, he's editing interview footage and putting them with a beat. He made me into a rapper. Like, it's crazy what he does. And if you're talking about undiscovered high quality NFTs, like this guy is he's like savant level shit. Like, I don't know how the fuck he does this stuff, but he just did this for fun one day. He's like, hey dude, look what I made for you. And it was a gift. He made it for me. It's just like a homie gift. And I'm looking at this thing. I'm like, what the hell did you do here? This is like amazing. So I said, hey dude, this is great. And I appreciate the gift, but this needs to be seen. Like, we need to tokenize this shit. So it was fun for him because same thing. He didn't go into this with any monetary goal. It was just a fun project. And I told him that this is way too cool to just sit on my hard drive. So like, let's celebrate it. And this is great. Like, let's celebrate it right now. Like, love you, Eclectic. Like, you're the shit.
Well, thank you again, Coldie, for coming on. Again, this is a badass rap remix video. And Coldie, if anybody wants to find you, where can they find you?
The easiest way is on Twitter, Coldie. It's right there in the description. I also have a website, coldie3d.com. And that's where I sell the physical stuff too. So bookmark that for about a month from now, and we'll check back. We're gonna have some fun.
All right, sweet guys. Well, thank you again, Coldie, for coming on. Look forward to chatting with you some more.
Yeah, you rock. Appreciate you.
Thanks, brother.
A Coldie remix. Let's just freaking try it.
Been around for a minute.
Super fun and dynamic.
Once it clicks,
Oh, sick.
this is the new paradigm.
Now's the time. You know, we're alive, almost ahead of its time, which was fine. Design, my mind.
We're in the flow, so anything goes. I get so far out of my comfort zone.
There's no guarantees when you do an art show. Being an artist in crypto, stereoscopic photos,
Started doing the gift rotation.
art direction.
It's okay to smash your face.
First time I was shaken.
So I'm creating a delineation, cut the worm open, a literal legend, rebalance the passion.
Hyperinflationary currency made in perpetuity. Great Grandpa Coldie. I hope it helps somebody. It makes me super effing
It was
happy.
a lot of synchronicity. Free crypto art for me. You know, build the community. The Coldie method. The Cold got a loop. Coldie method. Click your videos don't loop. Ooh. Coldie method. The lightning round. Coldie method. The Cold
Moment right now.
Coldie method. The Cold got a loop. Coldie method. Click your videos don't loop. Ooh. Coldie method,
We can talk.
Coldie method, each had the special sauce.
Technology was evolving. Got in and I started tokenizing where we are and where we're going.
I'm always experimenting. So we're all building bigger and better things. Slicing and dicing. Personally rewarded, just starting. I'm all in. Mesmerizing.
NBA Top Shot. You get in these little eavesdrops. Do I know what I'm doing? Absolutely not.
To work on your chops.
Holy fuck, come up with new stuff.
Shake myself up.
Quote unquote remixed my stuff.
You know, selling shit for $1.
Taking a stand for the future that we can develop this space together.
Basically shepherds and Sherpas. Harness that power. We all were starting at one point, so why not help each other? Cryptovoxel, Cryptovoxel, taking this from both angles. Now it's taking it to the next level. Entrepreneurial, complete 180 from the traditional full color digital. So many things to talk about with different people. Coldie method, the cold got a loop. Coldie method, your videos don't loop. Ooh. Coldie method, the lightning round. Coldie method, the cold
moment right now.
Coldie method, the cold got a loop. Coldie method, your videos don't loop. Ooh. Coldie method,
We can talk.
Coldie method, each had the special sauce. One of the key takeaways, just step up in your own way. Maybe it's 5 minutes a day.